please, please, please stop worrying so much about Etsy star seller. Why? I'm going to tell you in today's video why you need to stop, take a step back, and if you've been stressing about maintaining or retaining Etsy star seller, maybe rethink that. Maybe it's not what you actually need to do because it's not actually moving your business forward and getting you more sales. G'day there, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Jess and today we are talking about yet another handmade business topic, and that is Etsy star seller. Now, of course, I've done a previous video on this. I will put a card up here. You can watch after this one or before this one, whatever you'd like. And that one I did just after Star Seller was launched last year in 2021. It's February 2022 as I record this, and it's been around for about 6 months now. So we've had a bit of time to get to grips with the program, see the impact it's been having. And I've done a very unscientific survey of other makers talking about this program and seeing what their experiences have been and whether it's had an impact on their businesses at all. So the reason I'm doing this video is because I'm in a bunch of free handmade Etsy Facebook groups, and I keep seeing posts about star seller all the time. People are constantly complaining about losing it, worried about not gaining it, saying I don't understand why it's not working, basically just stressing about star seller. And it just makes me frustrated and sad because there are so many other things that you could be focusing on that are going to make such a bigger difference. Now, I understand the appeal and the desire to win the game and get the badge, and that's what they're doing. That's why they're doing it, to to kind of appeal to that. At this point in time, as I record this, it doesn't have any actual material impact on your shop. It doesn't improve its search standing. It doesn't really have any impact apart from that little purple star, which buyers can see, obviously. But how much do they actually care? And how much do they actually even realize that it exists? You've got to take a step back here and realize, okay, it's like anything in life. Nobody is paying as much attention to this as we are as sellers, right? If I go on Amazon or eBay or any other venue platform, I pay zero attention to any of those stars or ticks or whatever the heck people have next to their names, or I don't care. Look, it's irrelevant to me. All I care about are the things I'm going to be talking in this video about that so many other people I've talked to say that matters to them. So basically I just did a call out in my membership community, the Thrivers Circle, and also in the Business of Making Facebook group and on Instagram, where I'm like, okay, I know you're a biased audience, but as a buyer on Etsy, do you care? Or do you notice whether someone has the star seller badge or not in their shop when you buy from them? And the overwhelming majority of people said, no, I do not care whether they have the star seller badge or not. Even better though, they all gave me the things they do care about. And that's what I'm going to talk about now, is the things that you should care about that actually matter to your customers. And as I was saying, to finish my thought from earlier, most customers who come along and are searching probably don't even notice that purple star. And if they did, a lot of them, in fact, probably most of them, have no idea what it actually means. They have no idea about the metrics that Etsy, the very strict and unfair metrics, in my opinion, that Etsy has created in order to allow people to gain the star seller badge. I am one of umpteen numbers of Etsy sellers who will never, ever, ever be able to attain the star seller badge, even though I have a five-star average rating, excellent sales, excellent customer service, happy customers. If that's what the badge was actually about, I would get it. But because of their, somewhat, I think, arbitrary rules, which are in often part more about making Etsy happy, I think, than making the customer happy. Things like having every order with tracking, selling a certain amount in a month. What does that matter? If you have to sell a certain number of products or a certain number of a certain amount of money's worth of products, how does that impact how good your customer service is and how good a seller you are? Okay, so there are plenty of sellers like me out there who, despite having excellent customer service and a successful business, will never be able to get it. I mean, I could if I change some aspects of my business model, but I refuse to let somebody's, arbitrary badge impact how I run my business. There are certain things you have to do when you're on a venue. Absolutely. You have to play the game. You have to abide by their rules. But when there are things like this that don't really have a huge impact, I'm not going to charge my customers more or change my business structure or anything like that in order to attain this thing that I really don't think has a huge impact in the long run. Okay, so let's push that aside for now and go, okay, well, if people aren't focusing on star seller, what are they actually looking at? When somebody comes to your shop and wants to buy from you, what is going to make them buy or not buy from you? Okay, I'm going to just go over here and I'm going to read some of the comments I got in response to my questions. Here's one from April. I don't care. I look at how many sales they've had, how long they've been around, and how many or what kind of reviews they had. And now here's an interesting discussion from somebody who said that they notice, but they'd never not buy something because someone's not a star seller, because she understands what goes into having to be a star seller. So if they happen to have the star, I'm like, great. Having said that, I've never had a major issue with anything I've bought on Etsy. And then she said how she has been working really hard to try to get star seller, but then somebody gave her a 1-star review. There goes your star seller, even if it's not your fault, even if the customer is in the wrong there. And then there's a great discussion here about, whether people even understand what star seller means. And she says that herself, that I'd be surprised if non-sellers understood what it requires. Totally agree. Here's one that's from Ginger who says, absolutely not. I look at what their reviews look like, and when they went bad, how did they react? This is an important one as well. When somebody does give you a bad review, it's really up to you to try to turn that around, or at least, show your professionalism by responding to that review in a really good way. And I just did a video on this. I'll put the card to it up here about what to do when you have unhappy customers. So mark that one and watch that after you watch this one. That is a really important point as well. And somebody else backed her up here and said, agree, how a seller handles it when things go wrong is far more important than how many people give 5 stars because they didn't have any issues. Or Ava says, nope, I see it, I want it, I buy it. I judge far more harshly on the quality of the photos than anything else. Emma says, absolutely not. My criteria are A, they have specifically what I need. B, they are geographically as close to me as possible. And C, the price is acceptable. D, they have more than 10 sales. So here people are looking to see, are you an established business? Are you where I want you to be? Can I get my stuff quickly enough for what I need it for? Here's a great comment from Abby who says, I don't think customers who don't also sell on the platform even know it exists. I buy on Etsy all the time and have never even thought to look for it, even though I do know it exists due to selling there. Melissa's got a great comment here that star seller is at the bottom of the list of a survey from eRank about what matters to Etsy buyers. That shows you anything. Here's a great comment from Christina who says, I'm not yet a seller. So she's in my Thriver circle. So from a buyer's perspective, whether or not a shop is a star seller doesn't have any influence on whether I buy from them or not. It's the pictures, the reviews, and the descriptions of what I'm looking at that matters to me. Carolyn says, no, I'm only aware of the program because I have friends that participate and they've mentioned it on their social media. Sue says, not at all. Until I was a seller, I didn't know what it meant. Tamara says this, not at all. I feel it belittles the smaller shops. I never seem to have enough numbers to make it as a seller, even though I reply fast, ship on time, etc. Also, I do a lot of local deliveries which don't have tracking numbers, and the data thinks I'm not issuing them. I have tracking on all posted parcels. Okay, so now, I will say there are some people who did say the yes. Sarah said yes a little. It won't stop me from buying if I specifically want that product because I understand the fickleness of the program, but I feel more comfortable with the purchase if they're a star seller. So there were a few people who said, yes, I notice it, but they all said it wouldn't stop me from buying if it's the thing that I really want. So even the people who do notice it and say it has an impact, it's still not going to stop them from buying if you have excellent photos, good descriptions, good reviews, good responses to bad reviews. You've been around a little while, you're an established seller. It's always hardest to get over that at the beginning to get those first few sales, but then things get easier. So as you can see, there are so many factors that go into influencing whether somebody buys from you or not. And even if star seller is a factor to somebody, it's not going to be the make or break that in my opinion, and from what I've seen from other people, that will make people buy from you or not. So if you can't get it for whatever reason, or you lose it or whatever, just let it go. Be like Elsa. And let it go and focus on those other things that you have so much more control over and that aren't at the whims of the algorithm and the rules that Etsy's put in place for this program. Now, if you are or aren't a star seller, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. If you're a buyer but not a seller on Etsy and you somehow stumbled across this video, I'd definitely love to hear from you. But even those of you who are sellers who probably also buy on the platform, what's been your experience? Do you care or not? Do you even notice if a seller has the star seller badge? Those of you who've had it for a while, do you think it's had any impact? Like, obviously from my experience, I haven't got it and I won't have it. So I'd be interested to hear from you if you have had it for the full 6 months, whether you think it's had any impact on the growth of your store or the amount of sales that you've made. It'd be very interesting to hear from people in that situation for sure. But I think at the end of the day, there's so many things we could be focusing on, and I don't think it's the best use of your time and energy to stress about this little thing, this little badge on your shop, when you could be working on your photos, your SEO, your marketing, your customer service, all of these things that you have so much more control over and that can make such a difference when it comes to the success of your Etsy shop. If you enjoyed this one, don't forget to subscribe and give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. If you didn't, let me know. And thank you so much for watching. I'll be back again next week with another video, and bye for now.